Hey guys, welcome back out to the channel. It is Ando, and today we got the kit reveal for Iden. So this is a pretty cool moment for me just because I did used to play Battlefront 2 quite often. This is the Battlefront 2 2017, I believe. So it's the one that most recently came out and then also was pretty recently ended. So pretty cool that they're bringing this character in from this game. If for those of you who don't know, like she has like a whole story arc that goes throughout the single player. Anyways, there was a lot of speculation that she was going to come to the game because of a tweet that she had basically to Sam Witwer. And yeah, I don't know, just pretty cool that we've got a Battlefront 2 character. So let's go ahead and get into the kit reveal. We'll talk about the kit reveal, or we'll talk about the kit, and then we'll kind of talk about some implications that's happening from this, and then we'll kind of maybe speculate a little bit at the very end. So hopefully you guys enjoy all that. If you guys do, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe, as it really means a lot to me and the channel. And like I said, share it with your friends, or let me know what you think is going to happen with this character. So all right, so going over the tags right here, right? She's Dark Side, Attacker, Leader, Empire, and Imperial Trooper. And then they categorize her as a tenacious Empire attacker who expertly takes out foes while supporting her squad. Okay, so this basic looks really good, actually. I really like this. Deal physical damage to the target enemy, and if no other allies have the leader tag, Iden deals damage 2 more times for each critical hit. Iden recovers 5% health and protection. Not that you would run her outside of like an Empire squad, but it does sound like it's just like, hey, like it's just a leader tag. Like it's not even like specifically saying like you can't, like I said, you wouldn't probably want to do. It's not like you're gonna run her with Jedi Knight Revan, but it's just kind of interesting how it says like the leader tag. So yeah, basically kind of takes out Veers, it takes out Moff Gideon from that equation, takes out people like even Emperor Palpatine and stuff like that. Again, not saying that you would run them, but just kind of an interesting little thing, because again, that is pretty important. I feel like dealing damage 2 more times means that you are doing a triple hit, and we don't know her base damage yet, but that is quite a bit. And again, for each critical hit, that could be a 15% health and protection swing for Iden. So looks pretty good in my opinion. Special 1 is push forward, a cooldown of 2. And if you played the games, you know how much she calls in her droid and how annoying it can be. So this is just like, this is pretty hilarious for me. Physical damage to all enemies and inflict vulnerable for 2 turns. Vulnerable just means they're going to be crit for the next few times. Dispel all buffs on target enemy and inflict healing immunity for 2 turns and stun for 1 turn. These effects can't be resisted by rebel enemies. So they can be resisted by everyone else. They can't be resisted by rebels though. If no other allies have the leader tag, again kind of calling back to that, call all other non-droid Imperial allies to assist, dealing 20% less damage. The call out to the non-droid is really making sure that you don't put Dark Trooper in here. I guess that it was just too much damage and they thought it was just too OP, so it's their call to do that. And then the next one is special 2. We can grieve later, cooldown of 4. Final text says, dispel all debuffs on Imperial Trooper allies. Iden gains protection up 100% for 2 turns, and all other Imperial allies gain protection up 50%. Imperial Trooper allies recover 35% protection. If no other allies have the leader tag, all non-droid Imperial Troopers allies gain We Adapt or Die for 3 turns, which can't be copied. Now, this is interesting because when I read it, I thought, okay, so this is gonna be one of those blue buffs, but because it says which can't be copied, normally that's like, hey, it can't be prevented, it can't be dispelled, right? Like those kind of things. But this, and it even goes into this, like you can dispel this. So this must be a green buff that can be dispelled. Really big thing about that is like, hey, you can't really take this against Grievous, like just for an example, right? Because B2 is going to do so many mowdowns that you're going to sit there with a buff immunity over you, and if you can't get this is pretty important, it seems like. So We Adapt or Die, the buff is going to be a 30% crit chance, 30% offense, and 30 speed on top of what they're going to receive here with the leadership that we'll read pretty soon. And they'll revive with 70% health when defeated. That's pretty cool. If dispelled, so again, like they gain it and they're not dying through the dispel, it sounds like they're going to recover 80% health and gain 80% turn meter and can't be critically hit for 2 turns. So yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting mechanic. I don't know if we've seen anything like this. Again, normally this reads as like a, hey, this is a status effect, like you don't lose this kind of thing. But again, if it was a status effect, it would say, hey, it can't be prevented, it can't be dispelled, can't be copied, kind of thing. So interesting choice. I wonder what led them to that. Okay, so our leader, it is going to be an Omicron. Imperial Trooper allies have 35% crit chance, 35% offense, and plus 35 speed. So a little bit heightened from the Veers lead if we're kind of thinking about the other leads that are around. At the start of battle, if no other allies have the leader tag, whenever a non-droid Imperial ally attacks out of turn, they gain 2% offense stacking until the end of the encounter. Crit damage up for 2 turns at the start of each encounter and have 100% counter chance. And while enemies are vulnerable, they have minus 25% speed. Now, this part right here, I always try to think like, hey, what's going to be the opening move? There's kind of like this toss-up, I feel like, depending on how fast your enemy team is and depending on how fast your guys are, right? I could see you opening up with we adapt or die because, you know, you're going to gain another 30 speed. It's going to give you 65 speed, basically from the opening. Or I could also see you opening with this one here where you're going to inflict vulnerable to all enemies for 2 turns. And they're going to have that minus 25% speed. So that might be pretty big as far as, you know, getting out there first, which we know that that's what we ultimately want to do. And then the Omicron reads that at the start of battle, if no other allies have the leader tag, Imperial Trooper allies also gain 35% max health and protection. And whenever an enemy attacks out of turn, Imperial Trooper allies recover 20% health and protection and gain 10% turn meter. So kind of like a little bit of that Veers turn meter gain from a buff, although you need someone to be attacking out of turn. So a little bit more, I think, limited than Veers. But for an Omicron, not so bad. I mean, the making them extra tanky is definitely going to help, I feel like, because there's just if we are going to take the team that they want us to take, there's a ton of recovery between Iden and range trooper and shore trooper. So there's a lot going on in there with this could be a pretty bulky team, honestly. And then unique to first in, last out, it is a Zeta ability. If no other allies have the leader tag and all allies are non-droid Imperial troopers, Iden gains 100% turn meter at the start of each encounter. And remember, at each encounter, that's like basically like each wave per TB. Now, obviously, you don't have to worry about that for PvP purposes, but basically, she's gaining, like, she's going to go first unless you have Hux or JMK, right? Like people that block turn meter gains. So she's going to go first, right? And bonus turns are going to go before that. So like guys like Han Solo and stuff like that. But yeah, this is pretty crazy right here. This is a really awesome ability. And again, it's going to guarantee that you are either going to do this special 2 or special 1. And I don't know which one it's going to be. It'll be really interesting to see how this all plays out once we get it into our hands. She gains and whenever she is defeated, she revives with 100% health and protection if there's another active Imperial Trooper ally. So basically, you have to kill everyone before you kill her. That's the way that reads. While Iden has protection up, she has 30% potency. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. I guess maybe to land the stun or something. I'm kind of not really seeing a ton of need for potency for her specifically. And while she is active, Imperial Trooper allies have 30% offense. So an added offensive boost, right? And like there's a lot in there, you know, with some of these attackers like that. That's a good chunk when you add in the, you know, the 35% offense from the leader plus the we adapt or die, right? Like, so there's a lot of offense being stacked up, you know, guys like Snow Trooper, who I have, I think, like Relic 3 on right now. He's going to hit pretty hard. He was hitting pretty hard before. He's going to hit pretty hard now. So that goes over the kit, guys. We're going to talk now a little bit about some things, like some implications that's going to come from this. So inside the developer insights, they talked about how, hey, this is going to be a squad 1, squad 2. They're really trying to make sure that we make 2 different squads, right? If it wasn't really apparent from the kit, right, where there's just, all this non-leader, non-droid, right, stuff. So it's interesting to me that they say that squad 1 is going to be Veers, Gideon, Piet, Dark Trooper, and Stark. Now, for me personally, and you guys that have watched the streams, you guys know that I normally go with these top 4 anyways. In many cases, I go with those top 4. A lot of times Stark is kind of the one that's out, and I put in Range Trooper. It's just my personal call. But what I will say is, when you go down here to Squad 2, Iden Versio, Death Trooper, Range Trooper, or Shore Trooper, Snow Trooper, and Magma Trooper, this is where things get a little bit interesting, right? Because Range Trooper, he does a lot for this squad up here, right? The constant assisting for Dark Trooper, right? He's your big damage dealer. Stark he's nice, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have the same turn meter gains. He doesn't have the same, protection up and the counters. And like I said, the random chance to call in people. So it does feel like the Veers did get a little bit of a subtraction. But this one right here, Shore Trooper, at this point, if you don't have Lord Vader, then you're probably not really worried too much about this. But like, Shore Trooper really does feel like he fits onto a Lord Vader team. He feels like he's really, really good there. I know that they really want you to use Maul, and they really want you to use Royal Guard, and they really want you to use, certain characters in there. Sometimes that just doesn't seem like it's probably the most practical thing, I guess. And Shore Trooper really does do a good job at filling into that spot. So it really is going to depend on, I think, how well this team does. With this lineup, right? And I guess how tanky they are. And because like we said, there is a lot of protection and health recovery with just Iden and Range Trooper alone. I guess we'll just have to wait and see like what it's going to look like afterwards. Now, the last thing I really want to touch on here, and this is going to be kind of an interesting one. There was some call outs here, some spoiler alerts, if you will, about what Iden eventually becomes. There is a potential, right, like that maybe this is connected to a galactic legend. So my question to you guys is, what do you guys think? Is this going to be the first, piece to the future galactic legend? If so, who is it going to be? And then kind of last thing is, if not, or I guess the other way is this going to be kind of like another Star Killer thing where we get a few characters from different eras, different things, and then they kind of all go into an event and we get another kind of mini galactic legend, because it does seem like we might be heading into something like that. It feels like that for me, but I can definitely see where some people are saying, hey, this is the first step for a galactic legend, or maybe just one of those things where it's just kind of on its own, right? Thinking of like the Imperial Remnants, where it's like we got a bunch of stuff and then we're like, oh cool, this is going to lead to something, and then it doesn't really come to fruition. It will eventually, I'm certain of it, but it certainly seems like they have left that Imperial Remnant squad now kind of really out there for no reason. So just curious of what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It lets me know that you guys really did like this kind of content. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one.